And it's time. Welcome to CyberCast IRL, Friday, August 22nd. It is 10 a.m. Eastern, and it is time to get this party started, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. Happy Friday to everybody that's already in the chat. We've been having a great time talking and just having some good community going on in the pre-show. So if you are just joining us, if you're a first-timer here, definitely join us. In the pre-show, we're always kind of hanging out just about 10, 15 minutes before we get going. Actually, some of us probably get there a little bit earlier than that, but that's cool too. We get some great chatter going on, and you never know who you could meet and just hang out with friends. So very cool time there. But we are now on stage. We are ready to fly today. CyberCast IRL is happening. This is episode number 42, if I'm not mistaken. Can you believe we've come 42 weeks already? I see CJ in the house. What's up? What's going on? If you're new to CyberCast IRL, you might be wondering, what is this little cybersecurity live stream of which I have popped into? And that's a great question. And it's fairly simple. We talk cyber stuff. We enjoy it. We love it. We're passionate about it. And therefore, this is our topic of the day. What are those various topics? Who knows? It's the stuff that comes to our mind. I have a couple of things that I can bring up to help us, have some things to talk about. But if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have things that you want to discuss out there in the chat, make sure you let us know what that is. Put that in the chat. The interaction helps get other people to see this. So the more we chat and the more we talk, the more that YouTube rewards us for that. Now, that said, if you do have something specific you wish to bring to my attention, you're like, hey, Daniel, check this out. Or, hey, Daniel, I got a question for you. What do you think about X, Y, or Z? Or whatever the case is. I just looked at the chat. That's a bad thing to do when you're talking. You need to @ my name. @ my name is the best way to do it. You put an @ symbol. Now, let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about, because Tech Ricky got me. He got me good. As you can see, it's right there. Tech Ricky said, Danielist of all the Lowrys, Daniel Lowry, because I always say Tech Ricky is the techiest of all the Rickies. But it is good. But you can see how easily I can see my name right there. That makes it easy for me to kind of focus my vision on your comment, your question, whatever the case is. So really simple. Just make sure you @ the old name there so I can see it, and that'll make it easier. Now, of course, I'm but a human, and I am fallible and make mistakes. So there's also Wayne's Real World in the chat. If I'm not seeing your question or I'm not seeing your comment and you think I should be able to, or I just overlooked it, hit up Wayne as well. Wayne will be looking and seeing for those things and trying to bring those things to my attention. So if I'm missing something, he'll try to spam me a little bit to say, hey, so-and-so is asking the question about X, Y, or Z, Daniel. You're missing it. You're missing it. I'll go, oh, sorry. I'll get to it. It'll be fun. There you go. So now that we've got that squared away, we do have a fun thing that we like to do first thing in the morning. I hope I've given enough time for everyone to kind of get in here and get prepared, because there's this thing we like to do, a little event that just kind of kicks off the day just right, where your boy here, Daniel, I enjoy the flavorings, stylings of Monster Energy drink. They just do it for me, especially their zero sugar offerings. And it's become a little bit of an event here at CyberCast IRL where I do a pour. We call it the morning pour, and it is kind of fun. A little ASMR where I tip the microphone down. By the way, I'm working with a new microphone today. I got a new mic, so this will be a nice little test run for that ASMR. Hopefully, it does very well. So far, I'm fairly happy with it. And I get out the Lord's Camo Cup, because woodland green is what God intended for when it comes to camouflage. And got a cup of ice in there, and I have a Monster Energy drink over here. Now, we do like to guess on what color I'm going to use. You can see many fallen soldiers. I've got others laying around the studio. I swear, if I ever just lined up I had to throw a bunch of them away the other day. It was getting insane. But yeah, we go through some monsters. And we like to guess, which one am I going to do today? What do you guys think? What color? I've already seen some chatter. I've seen green. I've seen blue. I've seen purple. What do you think I'm going to be going for today? BLT, let me know. Sounds great. Good to know. I do have a noise suppressor on. You know what? I think I might want to turn the noise suppressor off for the morning pour, because we don't want to miss anything, right? So let me just pop that off. I'll probably get my air conditioner at this point. But yeah, okay, I'm seeing blue. Oh, yeah. It started to peg hard after that, didn't it? That was fun. All right. Are we ready for the pour? I got yellow. All right. Yeah, it's pour time. Let's get to it. Today's morning pour is sponsored by, not sponsored by, purple ultraviolets. Haven't had one in a hot minute, and you know this is one of my favorites, if not my favorites. So, yeah. Going with the ultraviolet today. All right, let's do this. Let's get the microphone down. Get the crack. Oh, not toward. Got to do this. That was a good crack right there, kids. I like that one. And it did not go flying all over my electronics, which happens from time to time. And then we get the cup, and it's time for the pour. Good to the last drop, isn't it? That was a good pour. All right, give it a little tap. Bring the ice up. It is full to the brim, just like we like it. Oh man. Yes. I enjoy this is what's up. I'm sorry. Of all, I'm just going to go ahead and call it. Mark it in your calendars that Daniel officially says Monster Energy Ultraviolet is his absolute and utter favorite. Hopefully that went really well. How was the audio on that? Let me know in the chat so I can make sure that that's going to be good, because we don't want to mess with the morning pour. The morning pour's got to be good. We got to get that sizzle from the top. That's right. Good crackle, as David Toohey says. Oh, man. I think my microphone's trying to figure out what to do at this point. It's like, hey, you had a noise suppression. No, you don't. Like, what's going on here? I'll give it a little push away and see if that works pretty well. Man. Yes, sir. Your boy's ready to fly now. Let's check in with the chat room. See what's going on. Let's see here. You know what I should do with this? I should do this. I'm going to try something different today. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to bring you guys into the feed. Let's look in the chat. See who's here. See what I'm missing. Oh, today we've got Wayne's Real World, of course. We've seen Tech Ricky. Raymond Cruz, good to see you. Ryu Sec, good morning. Lubbock. I'm going to go with Lubbock. Victor Rosa, what is my man in the house? CJ, of course. TJ Williams. Nice. Everybody's having a great time today. Code Brew in the house. Merrick, good to see you. The Pain. Guessed pink. Unfortunately, I think actually Wayne guessed it right. I saw him say purple. So good job. Carrie in the house as well. Congratulations to Carrie. He was letting us know this morning he landed a full-time employment job. Now he will have steady income, and we like to celebrate those types of wins. So a big round of applause for our man Carrie in the chat room. Getting that going on. We're super happy for you. Let's see here. Who else we got in there? Legratz. Good to see you. Irene. Conrad, very good morning to you as well. My wife in the house, Mrs. Lowry. Beautiful woman who I love very much. BLT. Jesse Johnson showing up. What's up, Jesse? L. Tates, Mental Edge. Who else we got today? Old Yeller Monster. Yep. All right. Ooh, NASA from Turkey. First time watching. Yes, if you're a first timer, please let us know. Put that in the chat. Let everybody, warm welcome to every one of you first timers that are out there. We're about to get into some cyber talk, but we got a warm welcome. We got to warm up the show, right? We got everybody welcome and ready to rock. Let's see here. Carrie says that now I'll be a purple people eater. Cheddar Bob in the house. Good to see you. Mental Edge. Have you had the import? It's been years, but it was my fave. No, I have not. I will have to look into that. It's the import. If you can, like, hit me up on LinkedIn or something with a link to that, so I know exactly what I'm looking for. Blood, Sweat, and Rage. Good morning, everyone. VJ Money. Good deal. Man, I love seeing all these chats. Such great stuff. Good morning, Cheddar Bomb. Let's see, Co-Brewer. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much caught up. First time live. Yeah, man. Good to see you. Glad to have everyone here today. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a great time. Now, I'm going to move that chat room back over here because it is a little easier for me to see with my head up. So let's move on today. Okay, let's get into some cyber talk today. If you got questions, you got comments, you know what to do. Throw those in the chat and we'll take a look. We'll get at it. I didn't see anything. Wayne, if you see anything that I missed, of course, please go ahead and hit me with that. But like I said, big welcome to the first timers as well. Thanks, Carrie, for welcoming everyone as well. All right, so, man, that mic does seem loud now, doesn't it? I can turn it down just a little. I don't know. How do you guys think? Is the mic getting too hot? Is it popping at all? Your feedback helps because I want to make sure the audio quality of the show is chef's kiss 100% of the time. So if it's clipping, if it's popping, if it's doing anything crazy, let me know so I can adjust. Because there's always little tweaks you got to make just to make it just right. And anytime you drop something new into your setup, as small as it may seem, anything will definitely affect just about everything. So you gotta do a bunch of stuff to get things just right. So I appreciate everybody's feedback on that. Let me check the chat here. All right, Shane F has a question. On my laptop, when I try running more than 3 instances of Security Onion, Kali, VulnHub, and then I try running my Windows, my fairly new laptop starts saying, "We're too much. Is this the norm?" So you're saying you're basically overloading your system. Shane F, if that is the case, then make sure that I'm correcting. No popping. Excellent. Everybody's saying sounds fine. Excellent. So yeah, it is easy to kind of start pushing over your laptops and stuff, and that is one of the unfortunate side effects of doing a bunch of virtualization on something like a laptop. Now, that's thank you, Wayne. We'll get to that in just a second. On CJ's question on Deepseek. But here's the thing. You got to know its limitations, right? You got to know how much hardware you're running. Now, if you're running 32, like a laptop with 32 gigs of RAM, a nice fast processor with many cores, something modern, you're going to do pretty good. It's going to do pretty well. You're going to be able to do a lot with that. But you had a pretty decent setup. I mean, Security Onion itself, it's probably, let's jump in here. Let's do this. Let's go playing around and just kind of see what's up. It's been a hot minute since I loaded Security Onion. So, Security Onion. So for those of you that, it's cool. You're new to what Security Onion is. It's kind of like a drop-in solution for a bunch of really cool security functionality that you can put in your network, and you can start monitoring and doing all sorts of stuff. So let's jump in here to Security Onion. Do I need to turn off the dark reader? It looks a little weird. Yeah, there we go. It's Security Onion for me. Security Onion is developed with all the major industry verticals in home offices, governments, and Fortune 500 companies. So it gives you the ability to kind of sock in a box. You just drop it on your network, you connect all the things, and then you can start monitoring, get alerts, do all sorts of cool stuff. Now, this is obviously the pro version, but are they Security Onion Solutions, creator, maintainer of security actions? There we go. A free and open platform for threat hunting, network security monitoring, log management. Security Onion includes the best of the breed, free and open source tools, Suricata, Zeek, the Elastic Stack, and many others. We created and maintain. So is Pro the only? There's all the engineers. Okay, let's go to software. Let's see what that is. Okay, Security Onion 2 is the latest version. You can download or run it in your cloud instance. Let's just look at the overview. See if we can see any kind of, what's the horsepower necessary for Security Onion? What are they saying here? And maybe we got to go to that download button. We got data types. Sometimes, there we go. Let Security Onion Solutions take care of the hardware and setup. You can focus on threat hunting and find out how. Okay, let's go hit that download button Let's see what happens here. Does it just start downloading? Okay, it takes us to here. Get a little more information on hardware requirements. That would be nice. But they are not seeing it. At least I'm not seeing it. If you know what the hardware requirements are off the top of your head, anyone, let's do some searching for that. Security onion hardware requirements. There we go. Documentation. We do not support ARM or any other non-x86 64 processors. Good to know. This is not going to run on your Raspberry Pi or your MacBook. So you will need some Intel-based or AMD chip. And then, of course, minimum specs. So yeah, we're seeing so in like heavy mode, they're talking 16 gigs of RAM. Manager search, 16 gigs of RAM. Their standalone is 24 gigs of RAM. So fleet node 24 or 4, import is 4, eval is 8. So even if you just want the eval on this thing, you're going to need a bit of horsepower under the hood just in RAM. Says that please note that all these are absolute bare minimum requirements. Your requirements may increase drastically as you enable more services, monitor more traffic, and consume more logs. For more information, please see the detail below. And it's going to give you a little bit of a piece of information about each one of these different deployments of Security Onion. So eval installation runs the minimal processes required for a single machine to sniff live traffic from a tap or span port and view live results or view the results. Therefore, its hardware requirements and are higher than import, as shown as the table above. Eval is designed for temporary installations or home lab installations on a budget. Unlike the full standalone installation, evaluation is not designed for production usage. So this does not go into prod. In order to minimize the RAM uses, eval does not run Logstash or Redis at all. Also, eval defaults to using Suricata for writing full packet capture to disk instead of stenographer. Then you get into the production deployment. So I don't know which one you're running. I would assume you are working with the eval. But if you are running the production, man, it's going to take some horsepower just to run the stinking Security Onion itself. And I think you said you had like 3 instances running, right? More than 3 instances Security Onion, right? Oh, I think what you're saying is you're running Security Onion, Kali, and VulnHub stuff. So I'm guessing your VulnHub is going to be your client, your production server or whatever. It has vulnerabilities. You're using Kali as the attack box to... And by the way, great setup. I love this. This is exactly what you should be doing in a home lab to go, cool, I'm going to spin this up. I'm going to use Security Onion as my SOC. I'm going to use a VulnHub machine as my target. I'm going to use my Kali as my attacker. I'm going to see what kind of logs get generated. I'm going to see what kind of alerts I can do. How can I tune this? This is a phenomenal setup. I love what you got going on here. But yeah, as you say, it can get into... So if you're running 8 gigs of RAM, bare minimum, by the way, for Security Onion, you probably need to be running about 4 for Kali. So now we're up to 12 gigs of RAM. Depending on the VulnHub, I mean, that could vary from less than a gig to 2 gigs maybe, right? So you could be pushing about 14 gigs of RAM. If you got 16 in your box, then guess what? You have... it's going to fall over. It's going to fall over because at 16 gig, you need at least 4 gigs of RAM to run Windows, right? And if that's what you're running on as your host, yeah, running on my Windows, fairly new laptop. Even at that point, man, you're just running out of resources. That's all there is to it. If you want to run robust labs in your environment, now here's what you can do. I will give you a tip. Are you kids ready for some home lab tips? I hope so. This is going to be fun. Sorry, we'll have to get back to chat here in a moment. Here's what I do to help offset some of that cost of resource to your environment. Hopefully you've got some old equipment laying around. An old laptop, an old MacBook, an old whatever, right? Maybe not a MacBook. Maybe just like an old ThinkPad, something, or go to a rummage, like go to the Goodwill, buy something that's 10 years old. Even try to slap it as much RAM as you can. So do I have one near me? I don't. Hold on. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Aha. So I've got this. Look, it's got all my old IT Pro TV stuff on it. That's how old this is. So when I left my job at the insurance company that I worked for, this was our standard issue laptop at the time. And that was in 2014. And they gave me like 5 of them. They said, just take as many as you want. And I was like, cool, thank you. Because I did a good job for them and they were happy and they were sad to see me go. But it was nice that they did that. So I took a few of these things. This is a Dell E6500 or something. Does it have latitude? I think it's a 6500 series or something like that. So it's fairly old. And it can only support up to 8 gigs of RAM. But if you put 8 gigs of RAM in it, it does pretty well. I run Linux on it, of course. And from there, you can just install VirtualBox or install VMware Workstation and then build and put your clients on there and then use RDP or Telnet and SSH and stuff to remotely administer those things. So that way your prod laptop, the thing that you're running, the thing that you use, is not as worked. So maybe you take something like that and just throw security on it, bare metal, right? Use that as a bare metal thing. So having one of those things it has a Windows 7 sticker on it. Yeah, it's old. I told you, man, it's been around, but it fires up right now and does everything I need it to do. I've got an old iMac from I want to say this is a 2013 iMac. Slap that joker full of 32 gigs of RAM, which was fairly inexpensive. I got this from a friend that was like, I'm just going to throw it away because it's so old, it's not supported anymore. Do you want it? I said, absolutely. So you can find these things. You can totally, and then offset that resource cost to other devices and just administer them using things like RDP, SSH, and so on and so forth. Remotely log into them from your production box. So hopefully that's a helpful solution for you. So you can get that home lab rocking and get a little more robust. And people are looking to get rid of old laptops all the time because they're just taking up room in someone's house. They're not using them. That's great for people like us because then we can build this really cool lab and offset some of that from our actual workstations that we use on our daily drivers. So hopefully that helps. All right, let's get back into the chat. What's going on? Okay, CJ asked about Deepseek. He sure did. I don't use it. Last time I checked, China is an adversary of the U.S., and I get the argument and the philosophical idea behind it's still a useful tool. Yeah, it is, but I just, I don't have any problems with using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and others. So I don't know what your question is necessarily about DeepSeek, CJ. So if you got more information on that, that's cool. So moving on. Let's see here. We've got, I just happened to see Kasu Silla says, is there a way to identify a device that accepts MFA alerts? I checked the Google Workspace, but couldn't figure out. Is there a way to identify a device that accepts MFA alerts? So as long as you the way you should be doing MFA, if you are, if we're going from order of greatest to least, you're going to start with a hardware token. That's the tip of the spear of the most robust security. So hopefully that's where you're going. You can start there. And if that's what you're talking about, but you're saying an MFA alert. So if I have my phone accepts MFA alerts. I can get SMS messages to my phone and I'll get those alerts in a message app, right? Typically it comes through my messaging app. And then I can MFA login. Most phones have messaging apps. And if it's just running SMS protocol, those should work. I would highly recommend, if you can't do hardware tokens, do an authenticator app. So most smartphones nowadays will be able to support an authenticator app. And then you can use that, and that makes it easy. They just go to the thing. They don't have to wait for a message to come to them. They just go to their authenticator app and type in whatever authentication code is showing up on the screen. And that's super, super easy, right? Just make your life. That's the way to fly. There's also where you tie it to an email or an email account where you will get an alert, again, on your device that is connected to your email account saying, is this you? Click yes or no. Type in the number. Do that kind of thing. Again, most smartphones that I'm aware of should be able to handle those tasks because we've been able to hook email and things of that nature into our phones and have their own standalone apps. Like Yahoo has a standalone app, Gmail has a standalone app, Proton Mail has a standalone app, Microsoft O365. Of course, if you're going to be using Microsoft, they're going to force you to use the Microsoft Authenticator app, so you have to have that. And there you go. Good way to do this is, guess what? You can buy a phone and you can puppy dog it. You can bring it home and see if you love it so much. Install the Authenticator app of your choice. Try to do the email account of your choice. If it doesn't work, take it back. You say, you know what? This didn't work for me. I wasn't able to do MFA with it. Could I look at another model? They'll wipe the phone, take it back, and go, cool, go try this one. So that's where you would go. Okay, moving on. This is a good time had by all, hopefully. I'm having a great time today. You know what I need? I need some tackling fuel. That's right. You know, I'm the world's worst spokesman for myself. I forgot to mention, if you enjoyed the morning pour, by all means, there's a link in the description below to buy me a monster. And that way we can keep the monsters flowing regularly without any kind of interruption. I appreciate that. Anyway, moving on. Shameless plug. If you don't have to, I'm just letting you know it's there. All right, let me look into some chat here because I want to see what you guys are saying. Daniel, yes, so requirement 200 gigabyte, 16 gig minimum of RAM. Yeah, it gets crazy out there for the requirements you need for some of these newer home lab environments. I bought a B-Link SER8 from Amazon, cost $500. And yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at, but it's not like MacBook prices. It's not gaming laptop prices, but guess what? It runs like a champ. I am super thrilled with the performance, the stability. I get like 0 issues out of running that thing. And what's funny is, I forgot who it was. Was it Tech Ricky? Was it you? Who asked me about Ludus? Let's go look at Ludus. I've mentioned Ludus before, but someone was asking me about Ludus because I mentioned it this morning. Ludus is a really cool home lab. Not ticketing. Ludus. No. Ludus.cloud. I think that's what we're looking for. Yes. The easiest way to deploy dev test infrastructure. This thing rocks. It rocks. You're going to love it. It's great for home lab. It does have some hardware recommendations or, minimum specs. And this was the impetus for me to buy the B-Link little mini PC, but it was super simple. It took a little time because, it was a lot of downloading and things of that nature and, some plugging of stuff in and having to boot and get the keyboard, mouse. You know how it is when you're installing an operating system. Because this does work on bare metal. You have to kind of install on bare metal. But it was pretty straightforward. The documentation was really great. And this will help you build like easily deployable home labs like Game of Active Directory in no time. Like it's super easy. You just throw it these files, these configurations, has OPSEC built in, stop configuring, start testing, right? This is a wonderful, I will drop this in the chat, copy and paste that in. Booyah. There you go, kids. Enjoy. So go grab that. If you've got the horsepower, you got a device that can handle it. They do have installation walkthroughs and everything. and it is absolutely loved by the community. This is not a lie. This is not shameless marketing, or what I like to call lying. Marketing, lying. Is there much of a difference there? I've rarely seen. What do they say? It's a difference without a distinction, or a distinction without a difference. That's it. A distinction without a difference. So, great stuff. Really, really love Ludus. The only reason I'm not running it right now is because I played with it. I was working with it. It does use Proxmox as its hypervisor. Proxmox, if you were watching Jawjacking this morning with Dr. Gerald Auger and the rest of the crew, great panel today, by the way. Big shout out. Good job bringing in Mike Holcomb. That guy is a beast. I love Mike. He reached out to me not too long ago. We connected on LinkedIn. He gave me tons of resources. Definitely go check out his YouTube. But Simply Cyber, obviously, is always a big deal. Jerry brings the thunder every single day. So if you're not watching the Daily Threat Brief, you better get to it. You got to get on it, right? It's going to be good for you. Going to keep you on top of things. But in Jawjacking, somebody was asking about Home Labs, and I mentioned Ludus. And we'd also talked a little bit about Proxmox. And Proxmox can be a bit, you might get on the struggle bus a little bit with configuration and working with things. Once you get more, I mean, even Wade Wells, who is very smart, very talented IT cyber guy, blue teamer, threat hunting, and all that stuff that he does. He's extremely smart. Check him out as well. He was like, yeah, it's complex. It's got it's a little learning curve. So just be, I want to be honest. I'm going to be straight, transparent with you. It's not going to be the easiest thing to get used to, but once you do, and I didn't have time to really get crazy with that stuff, and I need to be fast and in a hurry. What I need to do now is buy another one, spin up Ludus. It's like, no money, right? So that's where the whole buy me a monster kind of comes in, because that helps with that kind of stuff too. Where I'm able to do that stuff and then make YouTube videos and release them so you can do that. I'm definitely going to check out the LabShock lab that Mike was talking about this morning. That is almost guaranteed going to be my next YouTube video, because I'm really interested and fascinated with OT and ICS. Really has kind of caught my eye. And I'm like, I have not danced with her yet, at least not to any great extent. Maybe I need to spend some time there, so I want to check that out myself. All right, let's keep going. What do we got here? Phil Stafford. Okay. I'm looking for my name here. Carrie is letting us know that I named his laptop Mayo. Mayonnaise for the horsepower. That's so funny. You're such a funny dude, man. I love you guys. Okay, let's see here. Carrie says he still has love for old tech. He does. He's the oldest in his house is a Dell laptop running Ubuntu, and it's 15 years old. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's still useful. Let's see here. Mental Edge says, what's your thoughts on the CEH cert? Ooh. Look at you bringing out the CEH cert. Okay, so the last time I looked at CEH was version 12. I made a whole course on that, which is with the company that shall not be named. So, if you're using my course, that's who's delivering it. You know what, though? As you know, your boy here is getting back into the training world. I was sick of being away from it. I'm back, baby. So maybe to me, when it comes to CEH, when you look at what they want you to be familiar with, it's a lot. EC Council has had its, history, as it were, as a company, pros and cons, ups and downs. And for a long time, CEH has had a reputation of putting out people that don't know what they're doing. Like that, at least that's been my experience. That I've heard that if someone had their CEH, man, they don't really know anything. They know about a lot of things, but they don't really know anything. And when I got my CEH back in the day, right, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and I had my first CEH, I could see where that could be the case. I remember thinking this was such a cool cert because when I took the training and I set the exam, like the exam was hard. And I was like, bro, this has really stretched me and I'm really getting into this. This is going to be awesome. I didn't understand what it was like because you don't know what you don't know, right? A lot of times. And at that time, cybersecurity was still a fairly gate-kept avenue of IT. So it was difficult to get any kind of information behind the Iron Curtain of what's going on with cybersecurity and how you get into it and all that kind of stuff. So this was like the savior of us to be able to kind of like give us some credential to get us in the door. So when CEH came out, they were very popular. So it grew, and it had, I mean, let's be honest, the name alone, Certified Ethical Hacker. Beautiful marketing. They've good for them. That is a perfect name for a certification around being someone who does penetration testing, ethical hacking, that kind of stuff. So even though they say in their documentation, I've totally read it, did a video on it one time way back in the day, a few years ago, about how they're like, this is not a pen testing cert. So that is probably step one to start with. They say it's not a pen testing cert. They say it is an ethical hacking cert. Do not confuse the two, they say. Right? You cannot compare pen testing certs with CEH. This is out of their own mouths. At least it was. There was documentation. We're on CEH v13 at this point. Let's go looking. Let's go CEH v13. Certified CEH EC Council. That's UCF. That's a sponsored. There they are, EC Council. Let's go check you out, EC Council. What you got going on today when it comes to CEH? I have looked at this, but it was a few months ago. I know that from what I remember, they have kind of leaned a little heavier into AI, obviously. I know they've got a bunch of lab environments. They're really stepped up their game on having cyber range and a lot of stuff available for that kind of thing. So, yeah, definitely that. Of course, we're going to get all this pop-up stuff. Can we please? Thank you. So course info. Let's go there. Let's go to course info. For more information, fill out the form. Get in our pipeline so that we can incessantly hammer you with deals to do this. We are on CEH though, right? Yeah, CEH v13. I guess that's learning more is the, hey, let me get a hold of your email address kind of thing. So here we go. This should be what we're looking for. More than 20 years they've been around. 100% say the CEH increased respect and recognition at the workplace. Okay. Report that investigating CEH benefited their career and professional growth. Okay. This is, again, more marketing stuff. And they do push you heavily into their own training. And you notice it says CEH AI training. And I haven't done any of that, so I can't speak to what their internal systems are looking like right now. One-of-a-kind learning framework powered by AI. Again, this is all marketing stuff. Tell me about your stinking exam. There's a fun fact. See those prices? So, single on-demand certification course, and I think it's around, if you just want to take the exam, it's like $900 to $1,000, somewhere around there. So it's a fairly pricey exam. It does have name recognition, though. Earn a globally recognized certificate. That is a true statement, right? People do know what it is. They know about it. They know what it's all about. It's been around. It's got the tenure. So you have to weigh the pros and cons on that. If you were to actually learn, okay, so when I started teaching CEH, get on my soapbox here for a second, I thought, if the problem is that when you take the official course and you get the exam, their official course is to get you to be able to pass the exam. Plus now they have like CEH Master, and they've got all this more like hands-on exam that goes along with it. So you have the the written kind of, traditional style exam. And then you've got the CH Master where it's a more hands-on exam and you place the two together, your CH Master, whatever it is. It seems like, why didn't you just make the CEH like that? Just make the CEH practical and let's call it a day. Why are you making me take 2 exams? I don't understand. Especially in this day and age where most of the ethical hacking, pen testing exams are practical. Just do that. So I don't know if they've done that. I don't stay too on top of what EC Council is doing anymore. It's because I'm not teaching that exam. But as I get back into it, I will be doing some studying on what they offer and how they go. All right. So that said, going back to the training, my idea was, what if when I create training for this, I make it to where I actually teach you the things? Like, let's do this stuff. And I think that they're probably doing a little bit more of that nowadays as well. I can't speak to that. I just can tell you what I've done and how I've taught it. And I think that if you take a course on CEH that is very hands-on and covers all their bases for that exam, you would be a force to be reckoned with. You would have some skills. You would have some knowledge. Not necessarily how that applies in real world, but you would be able to say, I've run the tools. I understand the attacks, the vulnerabilities, the exploitation, and all that stuff. And then, of course, if you take that information and you marry, see, they're very tool heavy. They're very like, hey, look at this tool. This is a tool you should see. Here's a technique that you should be aware of. They're very heavy on you becoming familiarized with tools and techniques. I don't remember them being extremely heavy on how that applies risk-wise and how you can explain to a customer or clients how that affects their business. And that is a big part of the thing. Also, I don't remember them ever talking about anything about reports or statement of work, or if they did, it was very quick. It was very tertiary. It was very surface level. So it was one of those kind of things where a lot of the information they gave you was an inch deep and a mile wide. So there you go. It is a recognized certification. It has a lot of clout in the industry. Keep that in mind. And yeah. Okay. We took that for a ride. Holy Moses, we're at 10:42. How did we get here? How does time fly this fast? Whoa, Carrie says he didn't have to pay for the vouchers, but with A+ and Sec+, it was close to $1,000 if you had to pay for it. Yeah, well, I mean, that's 3 exams, right? And if they're right at $400 each, 300 something bucks each, yeah, that'll kick you right near it. Let's see here. Let me catch up. Where am I at? What about EC Council's Blue Team certs? Haven't seen anything with them, honestly. I used to do, hold on, I say that. I used to do ECIH, Incident Handler, and there was another one. I can't remember what it is now. It's been a while. Like I said, I've been out of the game too long, kids. I got to get back in because I like doing this stuff. This is fun. All right, Wes Bryan's in the house. What's up, brother Noomsa? Thank you, sir. Great podcast. It was good having you on the other night as well. Big time. Fun stuff. Tech Grunt 11 says, with the John Wick response to when people ask him about going back to being a trainer, yeah, I think I'm back. I love that, man. Dude, you got to make me, right? You get that. There's your next graphic, is me as John Wick doing that. That would be awesome. Let's see here. What else is going on? Fredon says, what are other ways you use a laptop that cannot update to Windows 11 because of update requirements? Linux. It becomes a Linux thing then, right? Because then you can continue to update it and have a nice little fun environment to kick around with, to play around with, maybe run it as a web server. So if you ever need to serve web real easily, you got this old laptop. Cool. It's my new web server. Nice. Plug it in, turn it on. You can remotely administer the thing through SSH. And that can be really handy for you from time to time. That way you're not spinning up a bunch of Python stuff all the time and forgetting about it or whatever. It's not that that's not convenient. I still do that, but I do like to have a standalone web server running just for file transfer because, fun fact, HTTP is a file transfer protocol, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Isn't that neat? So I tend to use HTTP as a file transfer system a lot. Let's see here. Wayne's Real World let me know that Kevin Johnson asked, first he said hello. So hello, Kevin Johnson. What would I need to run a SIM and a firewall like OPNSense from my home labs? Great question. I don't know off the top of my head. Of course, there's always the internet. We'll spend about 5 minutes on this. And then I've got one thing I wanted to show you guys that I thought was interesting. I saw an article this week. Very interesting. So let's go check out OPNSense. Let's see here. Hardware requirements. Hardware requirements. Yes, please do the thing. Hardware and sizing up. There we go. Open. Yeah, I always type in open. I'm an idiot. Let's see here. The OPNSense hardware requirements are. Let us know. Where's it at? Okay. It's available for AMD 64, x64, x86 64 processors. And so, okay, that works on solid state. Hardware requirements. Here we go. So you need 1 gigahertz. You need 2 gigabytes of RAM. So this looks pretty reasonable. Honestly, this is not a big deal. I love that. That's going to be awesome. Here's a more. Okay, so that's the minimum requirements. And of course, then they say, oh, reasonable. So a 1 gigahertz dual core CPU, 4 gigabytes of RAM, serial console or VGA. This still looks pretty straightforward, brother. I think that this would not be bad. Recommended 8 gigabytes. I probably would go with that, especially if you were doing actual work. You weren't just kind of kicking the tires and looking at it and see how it works. You're actually going to try to home lab this a little bit and deploy it quite a bit. Love this. They got a hardware guide. I have not worked with OPNSense before, so this could be a good home lab homework for all of us. It seems fairly easy to get working with, so spin this up in your virtualization environment as you do, which should be possible. You should feel like this is well within the working range of most people's systems at this point in time. If you have something that's between, 4 years old to current, you should probably be good with that. Yep, this is the winner. I'm not even joking around. It's so refreshing. I will say, I think that the key to a perfect monster experience is because I've drank, go straight from the can. There's that. But for me, if you go straight from the can, it's only good, like really good. So it's like really good to here. Then it's good. Then it's like, maybe I'll finish it. Right? But if I pour the whole thing, like you see, I do the morning pour. I developed that pour for a reason because I have the best experience with that. Over ice, it's good to the last drop. Every single bit of it is amazing. So that's my key to a perfect monster experience, at least for this guy. Just throwing that out there. All right, let's see here. Okay, so yeah, I've got about 12 minutes left. That's good. I'll check this one more time. We'll go into the chat. Patrick Moss, you influenced me to try the Blue Monster. I have to say, for sugar-free, it's good stuff. Yeah, brother, it's my new fix. Very good. Nice to see how I'm influencing people and winning hearts and minds when it comes to the Monster campaign. Monster Energy, if you're listening, shout outs. Contact your boy. I mean, come on. I don't think you're going to find a bigger advocate for your drink than this guy right here, right? Am I right or am I right? There's only one answer to that question. All right. Yeah, let's see here. Scrolling back down. Where are we at? Professional monster drinker. Yes. I've taken it to an art form. Way more user-friendly than pfSense. We're talking about OPNSense. Cool. Very cool. That shirt rocks, says David O'Neill. But if it was the Daniel Lowry, yeah, I think I'm back to training John Wick's theme shirt. It would be even cooler. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. TechGrunt says, make me a monster, hold my monster. Or I'm sorry, make me a graphic. Hold my monster. Yeah, that is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see what you come up with. Okay, so the one thing I did want to bring up today is this. Let me grab this paper that I found. Copy. Let me throw it in this. Paste and go. Check this out, kiddos. That's probably blinding. Oh, I can't do this with a PDF. Okay, whatever. Understand. Can I just do the fit width kind of thing? Don't need this. Where's that at? Booyah. And now we'll increase the font. Understand the efficiency, the efficacy of phishing training and practice. This was an interesting little thing that I've bumped into this week. They did a study on the efficacy. How well did it work to do phishing training, to do end user security awareness training, do phishing tests and phishing training, right? So here it is, the abstract. This paper empirically evaluates the efficacy of two ubiquitous forms of enterprise security training: annual cybersecurity awareness training and embedded anti-phishing training exercises. Specifically, our work analyzes the results of an 8-month randomized controlled experiment involving 10 simulated phishing campaigns sent to over 19,500 employees at a large healthcare organization. So this is no small fry, run-of-the-mill. Yes, I will drop the link. Thank you. Copy and pasta. There you go. Everybody can follow the bouncing ball with that right there. So no small test, right? This was a fairly robust test. Our results suggest that these efforts offer limited value. First, we find no significant relationship between whether users have recently completed cybersecurity awareness training and their likelihood of failing a phishing simulation. Second, when evaluating recipients of embedded phishing training, we find that the absolute difference in failure rates between trained and untrained users is extremely low across a variety of training content. What? This is insane. Third, we observe that most users spend minimal time interacting with embedded phishing training material in the wild. And for that, for specific types of training content, users who receive and complete more instances of the training can have an increased likelihood of failing. I'm sorry, does that say increased likelihood of failing subsequent phishing simulations? Taken together, our results suggest that anti-phishing training programs in their current and commonly deployed forms are unlikely to offer significant practical value in reducing phishing risks. What? Where's the Jackie Chan? What? This is crazy. This is insane that this is their findings. Now, obviously, there's a whole industry around doing security awareness training and doing phishing simulations and things of that nature. It's funny. Somebody asked me yesterday, I think on Jawjacking, did I think that cybersecurity is a real thing or is it just a marketing term? And it's like, whoa, okay. That's an interesting thought. I have never gone down that road. I really need to think about it. And then I see this the same day. I saw this yesterday and I was like, oh, this is going to be great on CyberCast. This is going to be fun. Okay. So how does that work? And what can we do about this? Because this is a real problem, right, kids? This is not good that this is happening, that this is the thing. If this is all true, of course. Now, statistics and studies, you got to kind of I would highly recommend reading it. It's only 18 pages. It is a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Like you were a PhD. It's very technical, right? It's a very technical paper, but I think that this is one of those things that the juice is worth the squeeze. Just get in there, read the thing. Anything you don't understand, if it's not at your level, if you're a little, that's totally cool. This is the kind of thing where if you set the bar just out of your reach, then reaching for it is going to make you stronger, better, faster, So I highly still recommend go read this kind of stuff, and you'll understand more about how phishing simulations work, how user awareness training looks, and all that stuff, so that you can incorporate that knowledge and get some more experience from other people on their work into your own person, assimilate that knowledge into your own, and then synthesize it, right? Okay. This is a crazy thing. They even got to where I read most of it. I didn't get a chance to read all of it quite yet, but I've read all the major pieces of it. They said that there was at least one person that no matter what they did, they clicked every phishing link they sent them. No matter what. No matter how much training, no matter how much they did. And of course, they stuck with the traditional routes of training. I think that was the whole purpose of this thing, is to see how well that stuff works. And they were finding that it was very marginally so, that it was only giving a little bit and not enough so that you would say that this is going to impact true phishing attacks from real adversaries, that this is not going to stop them. You can phishing test them all you want. It's not really going to impact whether or not you get popped. Someone in your organization is most likely going to click those links. There is some caveats in there, some like, well, in this vein, if you look at it this way, it does go out, and I believe it does say that there is some increase of security for traditional phishing simulations and training, but they found that to be just marginally so. And that's just a weird, crazy thing. So now I want to jump into you guys' thoughts, because we got 4 minutes to go, and then we're going to call it. But let's see here. What do you guys think about this? What's your thoughts? Irene says, mind blown. Kyle says, where are you at? Know before? I would love to hear what they have to say about that. That's really interesting stuff. Peace out, CJ. Good to see you, man. We'll see you next week. He had to run, and for good reason. The CyberCast IRL community is with you, good sir, on this, your day of mourning. Yes. Let's see here. Just kind of looking at what you guys are talking about. Maybe there should be laws about clicking on phishing links, says Kyle. That's why people wear seatbelts. Yes. That's why we wear seatbelts. Interesting thought. You're going to punish. Some people say the user is the problem. Some people say the system is the problem. You need to develop a better, more safe system that doesn't allow for John or Jane or whoever that would never even get to them. So they wouldn't have to worry about that. It's not fair. They're not tech savvy. Why do you blame the user? Maybe it's probably somewhere in the middle, where we can get them bought in and trained into. And that does bring up a good, and I've probably talked about this before. Everybody, not everybody at IT Pro TV, back in the IT Pro TV days, most of us were fairly tech savvy, right? Even random employees, they were interested in technology. And if they weren't when they came to the company, they were, because that was just around them all the time. And it becomes interesting to a lot of people. And we had developed this, and it was very simple. It was a very simple way. What we did was we said, you know what? Phishing is a definite problem. It's a real issue. And we understand that not everybody knows what that looks like. We understand that not everybody understands how they could get popped. So we just made a Teams channel or a Slack channel or whatever it is, communication you use, that said phishing. And we kind of made it a culture thing that everybody was sharing their phishing link. Oh, I got a phishing email today. Here it is. And you screenshot it and throw it in their chat. And we would all kind of make fun of the poor grammar, or, oh, there's the URL. You could totally see that, right? Oh man, if you weren't paying attention, that would have popped you. And it became a cultural thing for us to get in there and see it. And it became very fun. And we got buy-in with people that normally probably would not have bought into a system like that, because it became a fun thing to do around the water cooler, the digital water cooler, as it were. So I found that to be a fairly useful way to get people to understand what phishing looks like And then they just don't want to be the person that gets hit. But we also would say, if you did get lured by this, and because some of them were actually fairly good. They were really good, as a matter of fact. And we would say, anybody that clicked on this, we would get it. Just let us know so we can help and we can triage. And we made a path to saying, this happens. You might have that happen to you. So we don't want to chastise you too hardly for that. We just want to inform you, help you understand what not to do and what to do. And that, I think, is a great way to go. I think a lot of people would do that. All right, a lot of people talking about, I just saw somebody talking about Centennial Gray, mentioning my Discord. If you want to join the Discord, there is a link down in the description below. Hang out with us, get some chatter going, a lot of different conversation channels to hang out in. And it's still fairly new, so bring the chatter. We'll have some conversations. Everybody's had a great time so far. I've really enjoyed it. So let me know and hang out with us. That said, it looks like we are at the 11 o'clock. Can you believe this? It has gone by so fast. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today at CyberCast IRL. We'll be back next week with more. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Don't forget, Wednesdays in the evening, we do CyberCast After Dark at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have a special guest. That's where we bring in a guest. We have a great conversation with our guest. And be on the lookout for me to drop that link very, very soon, probably Monday or Tuesday. So, all right, the graphic is ready, says Tech Run. It's time for us to go jump into Discord and see what he's got for us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, keep hacking.